Hey everyone, it's Mark Shapiro with Klamath Film, and I am really thrilled to be here with the crew from Music from the Inside. We had the opportunity to see this film, and not only as part of Klamath and the selection committee, but I saw it live in Portland for a special screening, and it is incredibly moving. One of my favorite films in the entire festival, and I have the crew here. They're going to introduce themselves, talk about their film, and process. And we'll start with director Neil Yoshi and Yosha, excuse me, Neil Yosha, and we'll take it from there.
All the time. Uh, Thank you. I'm the founder and executive director of Outside the Frame. It's a organization in Portland that trains homeless and marginalized youth in filmmaking. And the youth make their own personal films. And then when we're approached by others to do cool projects, we hire our participants and alums to make movies for other organizations. And when Nate came to us with this idea, it was an honor and a no-brainer to get to do this movie. And it originally had one ending. It ended with Messiah and two other people in the film kind of walking down the hall like cowboys into the night, but inside of a prison. And uh, I think the greatest achievement we've had lately is Messiah calling us um, from inside the prison, inviting us to record his first day out. And that allowed us to change the ending that you'll see today from people inside a prison to Messiah becoming a free person again. So that was, you know, it just art and life getting to work together. It's one of my favorite things about making movies. Uh, and it was so cool to document this amazing program, which I'll let Nate talk about.
Hi, I'm Nate Query. I'm the outside facilitator for Out of Sight, Out of Mind music. And the idea for this documentary actually started as an idea from Messiah and a couple other guys inside asking a couple years ago if there'd be any chance for me to bring in some videographers or even just some cameras so we could document the work we were doing in there. We record and make music inside a prison and now outside also. Um, and at the time, Messiah and another guy, Chris Briggs, who's in the film as Thrilo, they were running the program on the inside, and I was facilitating the outside connections. So I called Neely and asked about making a couple music videos, thinking that we would just do some videos of recording and whatever. And Neely had lots of great ideas and is very convincing. And next thing you know, we're making a documentary. So that's what we did. That was about 2.5 years ago. It was during a time where, for bureaucratic and COVID reasons, I was locked out of the prison quite a bit. So I think the energy in the film is particularly great because the prison let us have a whole Saturday, like 4 hours, whereas usually our sessions are like an hour and 45 minutes. So we were able to really get a good picture of what we were up to then. Things are always changing, so it's kind of a great snapshot in time. And then not a little bit after we finished it, Messiah was released, and then yeah, they made that footage of his release, and so now that's part of the film. And Messiah, why don't you introduce yourself and add any
I'm,
comments?
Mess- I'm, I'm Messiah. I also go by Guap. I was inside facilitator to the program. Um, it was when I first got there, the program had just like kind of like got on the board, like, hey, the music program's coming back. Who's going to show up? And me and Chris were on the same unit, and we're like, oh, the music program's coming back. And he's like, yeah, I was there before. I was here for blah, say blah. I'm like, yeah, we got to go. So the first day, I believe there was probably like not even 10 of us. And we were like, it was probably smaller than 10, but it was just the fact that we knew what it was. And we were like, yeah, we're going to show up. And then and that's when I met Nate. And then ever since then, it was just like a cool relationship, friendship type thing, you know. And it was like, how can we make this program work for everybody, not just for individuals, and have everybody feel like they're not left out, and you know, just creating a community inside the prison where you normally wouldn't create with certain people, but not based on race, but more so based on, you know, who we are as individuals, because some people have different beliefs and some people believe different things and some people love different things. So one person might like rock music. I might not never listen to rock music, but now I kind of like it because this guy's coming in, he's playing this guitar or he's making this song, and it's like, oh, this is, you know, music was bringing everybody together in different ways and with different cultures of music and sounds that was important to me because it was like, we're not free, so what can we do to give ourselves something that gives us a feeling of being free, even though we know we aren't? So, you know, being able to do the movie was like a big deal for everybody because everybody that was part of it, rather they were interviewed or just there to watch the whole process of everything going down, a lot of people, you know, they honestly said that it was the best they had in prison. And, you know, crazy to sound, you know, to sound like that, but it just felt like you weren't there. It felt like you were somewhere else. You know, the staff, you know, treated us, you know, as they always do, with respect with what we did because they knew we believed in what we were doing and that we were passionate about it. So it wasn't like oh, they're just playing. No, they're actually taking this serious. And, you know, there's people that support us. So we were happy to have the support of Nate, Neely come in and everybody in her crew. And even from first day meeting Neely, it was just like, who's this woman? She's nice. Like, how can you not like her? You know, and you know, and even in the documentary, Nate was like, "I'm probably not the first person everybody would choose to be the facilitator, but it's like we wouldn't have had it any better way if it wasn't Nate. At least that's my opinion." So yes, and the documentary of me leaving, that was like a big thing for me because it was just like going from the first documentary of, okay, this is what we're doing inside, and then being able to show people, okay, they're actually exiting one by one. You know, the three of us actually, all three being free at this moment, you know, from those 2 years ago, was just like, oh wow, this is, you know, it's very powerful. And how Neely kind of explained it, like having that extension and changing that ending, it was like it's art, you know, it's art that you normally don't see because it's like your favorite movie is never going to change the ending. The first Spider-Man that I ever seen is never going to change to Peter Parker bringing back his grandpa. I wish, but the reality.
How do you think, Miss, I'll stick with you for a second. How do you think the program changed perspective for you and others?
I think it changed perspective for others. Me personally, I think because it showed that if we put enough work or show enough interest and dedication to something, that there's going to be people that stand behind you with whatever you want to do. So if we all were on the same accord of we want to keep this program, we want to keep it going, there were certain things that had to take place as far as us respecting the equipment, respecting the space, respecting the staff and the environment in order to keep it going. So it changed the perspective of, okay, I can't, some people who thought for themselves as an individual, oh, I just want for me, me, me. It changed a lot of people's perspectives from me to we, because it wasn't just them anymore that it was affecting. It was everybody as a collective.
And Neely, the project, how did it come to you, and what was your sort of goal as you approached the project?
It came to me like the best things do, which is through the program participants and its alumni. I think Michaela, who filmed, who was a cinematographer, who used to be a program participant and now works for us, making films and training the incoming young people. She had met with the executive director of Open Hearts, Open Minds that runs these programs years ago, made a first connection, and then one of our former participants who also used to be incarcerated. Palilo, a rapper and youth educator, I think Nate asked Talilo about doing this music video, and he referred him to us. And when Nate described what he was doing, what's happening in there, it was like people have to be able to see it, the bigger picture, not just the individual songs, but the whole process. And the fun thing about making documentaries is you get to kind of parachute into a situation and capture the magic that the people doing it while they're doing it maybe can't see. You know, the prison guards are like busy with the like logistics, and the people are like hustling in and out trying to get as much recorded in the hour and 45 minutes as they can. And so we have the important job of like, yeah, capturing the magic and showing it to the world, you know, and to the people participating. You kind of step back and you're like, oh, that's what we've been doing here all along. And it's so much more important when it's showing what's happening inside a prison, which is people, it's, you know, they don't see it, they don't think about it, and it's a crime against humanity. And so these little flickers of goodness happening inside are really important to show on the outside. And then for outside the frame, it's taken us places, you know, like it's one of our first films to make it into film festivals, and we got to have it playing before the entire run of Sing Sing, the new prison drama, at living room theaters in Portland and in Indianapolis. Like, so it, you know, it's also taking us places. And what Outside the Frame does is exactly what the music program does, but with film and for youth who are unhoused. They get to direct, they get to call the shots, literally, you know, and that helps them then take that to their lives. And because we're in the medium of film, then like the general population can also see what these kids are capable of. They realize what they're capable of. The larger world sees what they're capable of, and hopefully that leads to more goodness, you know. And it's fun. We really had a lot of fun. This was like an awesome crew. You know, it keeps going.
Yeah, and you know, and Nate, as you know, a member of the Decemberists, you know, an incredible band. I mean, to be able to bring this into the prisons, and the ability for people to really connect with, you know, significant musicians must have been an incredible experience for you. And you had talked a little bit about when you know, you would drive to the prison, you would do what you were doing, and then you would leave for the day. Can you describe the sort of the multitude of emotions I'm sure you must have been feeling upon, you know, getting there and then leaving, and obviously probably wanting to do more? How was that for you?
Yeah, it's interesting that going the I think mostly I kind of I'm a pretty like stoic, chill person, so most of the time I don't really think about it a lot, but it's weirdly unsettling going into a prison because because there's, I don't know, it feels a little bit subversive doing this music thing because it's so fun and it's so great, and guys are doing like really lighting each other up and inspiring each other. But when I walk in, it's like I got to walk through this huge gate and there's barbed wire everywhere. And I never know if the guard at the gate is going to be. Sometimes I'm just like kind of click my badge and say, hey, good morning. And I'm always really friendly. And some people are, and some people really aren't. And sometimes I feel like sometimes walking in, it really feels like nobody wants me there until I walk into the room where we do the music. And then then it feels like in that space, we all really belong there and we really care about what we're doing together. And then similarly, like I kind of walk out and sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I get to take this music outside and mix it. But there's such a built-in disconnection between me and the guy and like the guys when they're inside. Like we have an hour and 45 minutes together and I'm not allowed to the rest of the week contact them. I can't call, I can't visit, I can't have any sort of direct connection. And like right now, there's some weird security things with the music program where I'm getting a lot of flack and not even allowed to go in, and I can't even be in touch with the guys. So that it's um it's really hard because I we build these connections and it's great when I get to keep in touch with people when they get out. Um that's been a fantastic change in the program in the last few years is that we maintain relationships afterwards and we keep recording afterwards. But the inside part, it's really valuable that time we have together, and then it's just weirdly isolated. And even when we made this documentary, like that came at a time where for 6 months I wasn't allowed inside, and it wasn't because of COVID, it was just some bureaucracy with my badge or something. And so the program was on pause. They were doing it by themselves with the equipment that we left in there. We're always trying to find a way around the new hurdles we have up, but um, you know, it's weirdly draining because and it's weirdly inspiring. Like I get really fired up about the music we're doing, and then also I'm constantly surprised by what weird kind of hurdle, whether it's a guy getting shipped out to another facility because he broke a rule, or whether they changed the security protocols and we can't do something we were doing before, or you know, there's just a million things that make it really hard. But from the first time I went in there just to help out the facilitator at the time figure out how to record without a computer, it just felt like there was a lot of possibilities for doing cool stuff in there. And um, I've always been excited about using music as a way to connect and build community. And there's kind of no more powerful place to do it than inside a prison. It sounds really weird, but it is really powerful to be doing music in there.
Neely, for you, the same question. What was it, having to deal with interruptions in shooting, and how were you treated as a filmmaker, and what did you do when you couldn't shoot? I'm sure you wanted to get back in there and do things or grab pickups or B-roll. What were those challenges like? Can't be easy.
And that's part of the reason. I mean, as an educator, a supplemental educator, like I can't even handle the school system. It feels too oppressive to me. I only want to work with people who choose to be where they're at. Added bonus as an educator, parents are kind of a pain in the ass. So working with disconnected youth is really the most fun. So of course, working in a prison feels terrible, which is, but like Nate said, this process was so enjoyable. Everyone was so fun, and it's true. Like having a camera opens doors. Like we didn't have any problem. People treated us. We got to do whatever we wanted and needed, and that's thanks to the groundwork and legwork that the guys and Nate have done. There's a lot of power with the camera, and which is why we feel like a strong responsibility to use it for good. And as for the like existential despair part, what keeps me going is the old Jewish adage, it's not for you to complete the task of repairing the world, but neither can you desist from it. It's very easy these days to feel overwhelmed and in despair. And if I didn't have my this program, this organization, and the 100 young people a year that I know that I affect, then I probably would be feeling a lot worse. But like this is what I can do, and I'm doing it the best I can. And that's the only thing, you can do, you know? And, when I see the young people I work with outside on the streets, they can seem, sometimes when I look at them objectively, like they seem, small, and they're out in the elements with their all their belongings, and I forget sometimes, because when they're here in our studio, they're powerful, amazing, and creative, strong, hilarious, hardworking people. That's the expectation, and that's like, we don't ever treat them like, with kid gloves. It's like, let's do the work of making art, and they always rise to the occasion. It's the problem is not with the people, it's with the perceptions and the expectations and the external limitations. So art, to quote Nate, is, like he said it about music, art is a freedom practice, and we just do our part. And again, music, cameras, it lets you go places that you couldn't go otherwise. And we have to make sure that we capture and share the stuff we find.
So Masai, when Nate wasn't there, what was that like during that period where he wasn't allowed in there? What was the organizational sense in the room, and what sort of magic came from those moments, and what challenges?
Oh man. So like when they wouldn't let Nate in, we would still push to go and do the program. It took us a while to kind of establish a relationship with the staff where they were comfortable enough with us to run the program without our outside facilitator being inside. So it was bittersweet because we had to build that relationship, build that foundation, and really, you know, use everybody that knew what we were doing and knew that we weren't trying to, and what, get over on the system with, is what they would say, find a way to, go and lollygag and hang out somewhere where there's no staff and blah say blah. So it was a lot of, hurdles that we had to jump sometimes. Some days they would tell us, no, you can't do it. No, there's no inside facilitator. And then later on the afternoon, we'll figure out a way. We're gonna get this equipment out, and we're gonna, oh, the chaplain's here. We're gonna sit here and record for an hour or 2 hours or whatever time frame he gives us. So and then it got to the point where we were like, okay, we have a Monday, but can we get another day? So after shooting the video, we kind of started getting our respect that we wanted, because they seen that, okay, these guys are not playing about their music. Everybody's involved. It's not just one group of people. It's not just two individuals. It's not a selective thing. It's actually anybody that wants to be a part of it is able to be a part of it. So them seeing that we're not just keeping people out and we're letting everybody in with open arms, they respected it, because it's like, okay, you guys can do this. The people that you have standing behind you, Nate and, Neely, coming in and just showed everybody that, okay, this is powerful. And then when the actual documentary came out and they were able to see it, they were like, wow, this was made here where I work. So people were actually proud to say that they were here, or they even seen it, or they even stopped by and was like, hey, I was there when they made that, or whatever the case may be. So it was definitely hard at times. And some days there were staff who didn't want to open the door for us at all. They wouldn't open the door until Nate showed up, and we would sit in the hallway and people would wait. We were never mad at Nate. We were always mad at the staff because,
I was late all the time.
yeah, no, we didn't care if Nate was late. We was there before Nate. We was in the studio waiting and setting up stuff way before Nate even showed up. We never Nate being on time or late should have never been a deciding factor for us to start our program, just based off the fact that we're the inside facilitators. Like we needed Nate to be there because Nate can facilitate things that us as individuals, inmates, cannot prison each other in a way, if that makes sense. So I don't like to always have to tell people, hey, you can't do this, you can't do X, Y, and Z, because now they feel like, oh, it's coming from another individual who's wearing the same clothes as me, and we're staying in the same hotel. How can you even tell me what to do? You know? So it was, but nobody never really had to tell anybody what to do. It was just more so certain things came off better when it came from an outside facilitator versus an inside facilitator.
I'm speaking with the crew from, I'm sorry.
Like I saw you like lead the like you're a natural leader. Uh, but it's always good to have a fall guy for sure.
Yes, and I'll take the fall. So I'll take the fall sometimes because it's just there would be people that needed the harsh reality, right? But in a respectful way to where it's like certain things had to be said by us because it's like we know you, we know what you want, we know what you're trying to do, but like don't try to like swindle this program into something that gives you something as an individual just for yourself. We're trying to give everybody something as an individual, as a whole, as a collective. So that was my main thing and one thing that I tried to maintain up until I left. And it was successful, I could say. There's always going to be people that's going to be there that just wants to be there, which is nice because they get to see and then sooner or later they get inspired and next thing you know they're behind the mic and they might be putting down some poetry, just putting down some words, whatever it may be. But if they just do one thing differently than what they did last week, it was a big thing to me because somebody reached them from their music, from whatever skill, playing a drum or playing a guitar or making a beat. So it was powerful.
I want to close out our interview again. This is the crew from Music from the Inside, spectacular, really moving film, and ask you what's next for each of you. And why don't we start with Nate?
One thing I'm working on with the program right now is trying to get the guys that are outside to figure out what songs they want to release and try and put together some sort of compilation and get more music released to the world, and get more outside sessions booked. And then on the inside, I'm just trying to figure out how to move the program forward because there's been a change in leadership at the prison and they've been extremely restrictive to the point where I'm not even going in right now. And then personally, I'm working on my own music, a solo record that'll be some sort of weird avant-garde instrumental thing. But hopefully there'll be a cool remix with some of the Out of Sight, Out of Mind guys doing some guest emceeing. We'll see.
Amazing.
Neely, what's next?
There's always stuff happening here at Outside the Frame. We just finished our biggest film production of a personal film of one of the participants to date. It's going to premiere November 7th at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, along with like all the best of what we've done this year. I hope you all join us for a post-election pick-me-up. But yeah, we have stuff going on year-round, and stuff I don't even know about because the kids are running the show.
And Masai, what's next? And I know people want to hear what's going on and what's inspiring you now and what's next.
What's next? I think what's next is me just honestly just working on music and working with the program and trying to keep the program, and keep it going. So that way it wasn't just oh, that's what we had way back then. It's no longer there. So just kind of keeping it going in a way to where 10 years from now we can say that program is still going. So that's very important to me, just to keep the program going, just based on the fact that I know that how it helped me during my time and it kept me in a space to where, okay, let me work on this song. Even though it's Monday and Nate's already gone, I'm already working on the next song because he came in with more beats. So by the time next Monday or whatever, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case may be, I know I'll have something new. But I think what inspires me the most is really the work that everybody does around me. Seeing Nate on Jimmy Kimmel Live with his band, that was inspirational for sure. Like my 7-year-old little sister was like, "Who are you watching?" I'm like, she's like, "Is that your friend on TV?" So that's inspiration enough right there. I'm not gonna lie.
The film is Music from the Inside. I want to thank you all so much for taking time with me today, and your film was great, and we just can't wait to share it with the audience at Klamath.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.